And the issue is that once they're in the crawl space, they can cause thousands of dollars worth of damage. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Gabe with Pest Patrol. Today we're going to walk through some basic, simple home exclusion techniques. The most common way that rats and mice are getting into your home is through your crawl space. So you've got those vent screens. They're made to allow airflow and ventilation. What happens is over time, either the original construction vents just wear out, or you'll have an AC tech or a cable tech or a dryer company. They'll be out there and they'll be putting lines through or pipes through your vents, and they end up inadvertently, unintentionally damaging the vents, providing holes where rats and mice can easily get into the crawl space. And the issue is that once they're in the crawl space, they can cause thousands of dollars worth of damage. We see it all the time. We'll go into crawl spaces and all the insulation needs to be pulled out, all the vapor barrier needs to be replaced. Sometimes they'll have chewed through water lines, they'll damage the plumbing, they'll damage the electrical. We've had customers have their dishwashers, their stoves, their fridges go out, to the point where it's cheaper for them to just replace the entire appliance than to get it repaired. So these tactics are going to help save you a lot of money in the long run and make sure that you don't have to deal with this. So if you're currently dealing with rats and mice in your crawl space, the first step is you need to get them trapped out. I have videos on my YouTube channel of how to do that, trapping techniques and that sort of thing. That's the most important thing. Get it taken care of. This step is the step you're going to take if you want to protect against it in the first place, or if you want to reinforce it so that it doesn't happen again. So like I said, those vent screens are the primary way that rats and mice are getting into your crawl space, which is the primary way that they then get into the house. So what we use for reinforcing crawl space vents is these great little sheets here. They're metal reinforced around the rim, and then they have this very small diamond pattern steel mesh. We use this with just an all-purpose adhesive. This Loctite has really great tack, so you put a line all the way around the outside rim of this on all sides, and then from the inside, we usually do it from the inside. You could do it from the outside, but then you won't be able to put in your foam blocks and stuff, and it changes how it looks. So we do this from the inside. You put adhesive on and you stick that up behind the vent, and that reinforces it so that even if your initial vent screen breaks, say you've got a home that's 50, 60, 70 years old, which is not uncommon here in the Portland area, and your vent screens are going to wear out over time. And so this helps to reinforce those vents so that even if they get through the initial ones from your original construction, they're not going to go in and do a bunch of damage underneath your house. So this is a great option. It's small enough pattern that you can drill through it, you can cut through it if you need to put a line or a pipe into your crawl space, and it won't cause huge holes that then mice and rats can squeeze through. Now another thing is once rats and mice get into the crawl space, they then will come up to the main level, and one of the primary places that they do that through is underneath the dishwasher, sink, and kitchen area behind the cabinets. A lot of the cabinetry, how it's built, is they don't put molding and trim up behind there, and so there's often a gap, a small little, inch gap between the floor and the wall. And so what we see a lot is that behind dishwashers, behind stoves, behind refrigerators, there will be a little gap between the floor and the wall, and rats and mice love utilizing those sheltered places where there's access into a wall void, and so they'll just use that as a little highway. So one of the things that we use a lot is this Liron. You can buy this at any local hardware store. You can buy it bigger and smaller than this. I think this is a 3x3 sheet or a 4x4 sheet, and we'll line around the base of a dishwasher area, underneath a stove, underneath a fridge, underneath a sink. We'll line it with this angle iron, or it's actually like a flashing because it's pretty thin. we'll line it with that, and that just makes sure you never have to deal with having rodents come up through that way again. Same idea, like little squares of sheet metal are great for holes behind sinks, little holes that aren't places that you can like sheetrock and that sort of thing, or that are out of the way enough, but you just want to make sure that it's really protected. You can use like an adhesive for those sheet metal. You can also use like a self-tapping like metal and lath screw as well for those. And same thing with this. You could screw this in if you want to. Some places will have a wooden rim around the vent, and so if that is the case, you can drill into that wood. It's much more difficult to drill into cement, which is why we do recommend just using an adhesive. So this is a great example of a vent screen here that is drilled into the wood. It's got a cement foundation over here, it's got brick on top, but then it's got this wood insert here. So this might be common in other areas. It's not very common here in Portland. Most of the homes have like a plastic insert that was put in when they poured the concrete. And but either way here, just to show you kind of for reference, this sheet could replace that quite easily. You could drill that in or use an adhesive if this was broken or damaged. This one is fine. And another option, if you don't want to change the aesthetic of the home, you can actually go in the inside of the crawl space, which is what we usually do, and put this on the inside. So there you have it. Simple tips and tricks to seal out your crawl space, seal out your home from having rats, mice, and other wildlife enter in. I hope that this video was really helpful, added a lot of value to you, and in the long run, I hope it saves you a ton of money not having to deal with rats and mice in your crawl space, in your house, in your attic, and that sort of thing. If this isn't something that you want to take on and you feel like it's too big of a scope, or you don't want to go underneath your home, we do provide quotes for home exclusion services, and you can reach out to us via email. You can reply to this video, or you can also call or text at 503-985-6523, 503-985-6523. Thank you so much for watching.